It's you. You and I walked together as the tower burned. And now, here you stand. Your light burns a path before us. And on that path, I see many battles ahead of you. Battles only you can win. The Crucible of Lord Shaxx will prepare you. In my arena, should a Titan stand in your way, crush him. If a hunter confronts you, break her blade. If a warlock speaks, feed him his words. There is only one path to victory, Guardian. See you on the battlefield.
Oh. Got the vapors. Shaxx.
Brings a tear to my eye.
Oh, man. He sure knows how to get you pumped up.
He does. Shaxx is getting weird. He's really finding himself. In D2! In D2! Oh my god, Destiny 2! Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't, guys, I'm so tired. I'm exhausted.
Oh my god, it's been a rough week.
I've been putting myself like 5 hours of sleep a night, maximum. Just I can't pull myself away from it.
So much caffeine.
It's one of those things that you remember it from Destiny 1 when you like got hooked. You first got hooked, and you like you spent way too much time, like until 3 a.m. playing video games, and your wife is like, what time did you come to bed? Or like, how late were you up? And you have to explain that you were stuck at the raid and you kept dying and you couldn't turn the game off. That's what's happening again. And it's a good feeling. It feels like the first like good fall morning, and you had that nice like fall smell, and you're like, oh, I remember I love fall so much. I'm in my element, guys. I love fall.
Well, I love Destiny 2. I love it. I love it. I can't like they just listen to all of it, and they just made the game I just want to play forever. But of course, you are listening to
Crucible
Radio
2.
The podcast for all things Destiny PvP.
That's what we're about. Thank you so much for listening, for tuning in. We're freaking out. We're losing it because D2 is here after so long.
Content, baby.
And content.
Gotta have my content.
Content.
Well, guys, before we dive into this, I want to introduce ourselves again, because this is a new era. This is a new time. Yes, we have regained our light, and the podcast is out once again, but it's different this time.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of people coming back. They've booted up their PS4s and Xboxes for the first time in a long time to play Destiny 2, and they're like, you know what?
True.
I want to listen to that Crucible Radio podcast I used to listen to. Welcome back. If you've been gone for a while, welcome back. And if you've been gone for just a week, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Either way.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Bones, also sometimes known as Dry Bones 81. Sometimes. I play Warlock. I have started Destiny 2 with the character I made on day 1, September 9th, 2014. And me and my Warlock are still going strong. And it's been great to see him to learn new stuff and go on new adventures. But that's me.
And I am Swain. I sound like this. And I play a Titan. And man, I'm very happy with the fashion in Destiny 2.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm Famous Birds, and I love Destiny 2, and it's becoming a problem. But I don't even care, because if this is how I'm going down, this is a great way to end it all. But I'm going to be here for at least a couple more weeks, talking about D2 and not getting enough sleep. I like to play Hunters. We all like to play everything, let's be honest, but I love to play Hunters. And like you, Bonesy, that same Hunter that I made the day I put that Destiny 1 disc in, and we have to call it Destiny 1 now.
Yeah,
it's
Destiny regular. It's Destiny regular.
Yeah. To have this same character come through and get to explore this new world is so cool. It's so cool. And we've got so much to talk about this episode. We've got our first impressions. We've got some hot takes. We've got a little bit of PvE advice. I know this is a PvP show, but we can't not talk about it at least a little bit. And then we're going to talk about PvP. There's so much to cover, and we're finding out so much.
And we've got an awesome interview later in the podcast.
Yes.
Getting back to our roots.
The one and only True Vanguard is going to be joining us. You know, he's been playing some D2 as well. And came to hang out, have a little chat. Good chat.
But first off, we'd like to ask you all to head on over to iTunes or whatever you listen to podcasts on, Stitcher, whatever. Head on over and give us a 5-star review. If you love the podcast, we'd really appreciate it. It helps us reach out to new listeners, spread the Destiny 2 love, and teach everyone how to get better at PvP. So we'd really appreciate it if you head on over and, I don't know, leave your favorite story about Crucible Radio or a joke. Just tell me a joke. Yeah, I'd appreciate it if you just tell me a joke via iTunes.
We'll read our favorite ones on the show. Also, to kick off this glory that is D2, we've got some sweet giveaways. We're going to be giving away a Scuff controller. We're going to be giving away some Crucible radio gear. We are going to be giving away a gaming monitor, whether you play on console, whether you play on PC, you need a nice, rich monitor, and we're going to hook it up.
So these will be 3 separate giveaways, starting off with the CR gear. Get you set up in some really nice stuff from our new store over at crucibleradio.com. And then the second one, we will be giving away the gaming monitor, and the big finale will be a custom Scuff controller of your liking, whether you play Xbox, whether you play PS4, whether you want to Impact or whatever. We will hook it up courtesy of Scuff. And there's one way to enter. Birds, you want to tell them about it?
It's so easy. All you got to do is go to crucibleradio.com/giveaway. Enter in your email. We're going to be giving it away, so just tell us how to get a hold of you. We've got our drawings, like Swain says, coming up later in the month.
And those will be on the show. We will announce the winners here on the podcast. Yeah, you will have until September 20th to enter. So make sure you get your entries in so that you have a chance to win some of this precious loot.
But just go do it right now. It's so easy. crucibleradio.com/giveaway is so easy to do. We want to give you free stuff. Go do it. Enjoy the site. And boys, let's get into it. Let's go there.
Please.
Let's talk
I'm
Destiny
ready.
2. I'm so ready.
All right.
Where do we even begin? There's so much to cover, and we could probably talk about like just the main story alone for a full episode. But this is a PvP podcast. We need to keep it moving. Let's do this. Let's go in a circle, and let's each just give some of our first impressions from the first couple days of playing Destiny. What jumped out at you? What caught you? Bonesy, why don't you go first?
Like every guest we ever have on the show, they say, well, I started out in Halo, and so did I. And those games were big to me, but because of the story, not just because of the top tier shooter feel. And this game feels like Bungie. Like it feels like a campaign I know Bungie can make, and they made a wonderful one. And I was blown away by the scope, by the involvement, by the characters and the action and stuff like that. Things were happening on the screen that I was just floored by. My jaw was just dragging on my desk. And I'm going to be honest, I teared up a little bit at a few moments. Not that there was such great sadness, but that just the references and the feelings of playing this game for so long. And I mean, I've heard it 3 times now since I got each character to that point. But when Ghost says, "Eyes up, Guardian," I just get chills. And it was like, I was like, oh my God.
Every time.
And from that point on, it was straight ahead, full force. Let's play this game until it's done. And the end game's great too. And we'll talk about that more. What about you guys?
So, kind of similar to how you put it. I mean, we got lots of great things to say about D2, obviously. But genuinely for me, it's been a long time. Like, I love getting really into the nooks and crannies of everything I want to watch, whether it's movies, Marvel movies, Star Wars, all that. I get really into it, and I like to know as much as possible. And honestly, it's been so long since I've been watching something or experiencing something in entertainment where I had no clue what was about to happen, because I stayed so dark on spoilers and I went into it so fresh and powered through the campaign in one whole day. And I just, because I wanted to know what happened next, and I kind of wanted to like progress through it, because like, just get to the ending. I want to know what happens. I want to know how we get to where we're at. And like having all those genuine surprises that come with the story and finishing the campaign, it was so rewarding.
There was so much in D1 that just like, it was fun the first time and then you just never played it again. Or like once you got past a certain level, like you just like, why would you ever go play patrols again? Like unless you're trying to grind out something specific, or like strikes, like until they added like strike bonuses, or there was a particular piece of gear you wanted, you just didn't have an incentive to do it. Or like 2/3 of the vendors in the tower, like, all right, I've got all the green shaders now, I guess I'm never coming to this corner again. And they managed to build a game where everything you do in the game has value. But not only that, it's all interlinked with all the other activities and all the other vendors. You're going to be going to every single person in not the tower, the traveler, but just the tower. You're going to be going to everyone in the tower on a regular basis. You can play PvE to get ready for PvP and vice versa. Like, it's just this perfect web of like, all right, you want to go to the dead zone and grind out rank with Devrim, get your engrams, great. But as you dismantle stuff, that's going to build up weapon parts that you give to Banshee. And then you've got those and put your weapon mods in them. And then you say, oh, well, I need to build some armor now with shade. Like, it just all interlinks and it's all valuable. Like, there's no wrong way to play this game. And that really is true now. And that is, it's mind blowing. Like, they did it. I don't know how they did it, but there's so many times where it's like I settle and say like, all right, here's what I'm going to do today. And then I just spend like an hour wandering around, like looking for lost chests or something, because it hooks into the 10 different things that I'm playing right now in this game. It's so open and it all means something.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of deep sighing this week.
Yep.
All right, Bonesy, hit me again.
So, I mean, it's fairly obvious to notice, but this game is very, 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 very good to look at on every level. Just the little improvements and details and this new sort of texture thing that they've got going. But, you know, beyond just shiny shaders and like cool guns and stuff, just being in it feels better. It feels new. It feels warm. It feels wonderful. Like, one of my favorite little new things is when you're talking to a character, how it sort of sets them up in a scene as opposed to that gray background from D1 where you would just sort of be there and in a menu, you see Banshee holding the gun up on the counter that he's fixing, and you see the traveler behind Ikora, and the way they frame those are just so nice. And I love the artistic touches there. Like, every shot in this game could be a screenshot. And that's just the mark of a really well-designed game.
For me, I think another one was the fact that it was full of life. D1 didn't really have the story we deserved, essentially. It thrived on everything else. It had great gun mechanics. It had something unique in the subclasses and builds, and the fun that it provided, like the endless fun that PvP provided. But the story and like the, you know, characters lacked something in D1. You know, you kind of identified with certain ones, but nothing too crazy. And then D2 comes in and just like has all of that first part that D1 succeeded in, and it just like launched you into this world where it built all these characters up, and there was like so many good comedic moments where I'm just like giggling to myself, and you got like that real feeling that you were involved with something, whereas D1 you didn't feel that way so much.
Everyone says like the music is really good in D2, and it is, but in particular, the Titan music, just like the kind of dubsteppy electronica stuff when you're down there fighting the Hive.
Oh, yeah, that was wild.
Hype. And like Nessus has got like the like sort of ambient or vexy electronic music. Like the orchestral stuff is amazing. It's the orchestral stuff, but I'm just like I love the other things they have in there. It's so good. Come on, guys, let's get hype. Let's get hype. Where's the energy? Come on, Bonesy. You're like a 3 right now. I need you at like a 7.5.
Dude, it's been an exhausting week. All right, I'm overwhelmed even trying to think of all of it.
I know, but yeah.
All right, we need a little bit more focus. The problem here is that we're saying, "Oh, what do you like about this game?" And I'm just like, and in my head there's a visual scroll where it's just flying by in a blur of lists of things, and I can't actually get it to stop and land on one thing.
All right. Well, okay, everybody loves this game. This game is so good. It's game of the year, when the first night when I finished playing, the missus had been asleep for 5 hours by the time I went to bed. But the second night I went to bed and she was still awake. And I said, honey, you know that song by the Rembrandts that was used as the theme song of Friends, where they say it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year? Well, right now, this is my day, my week, my month, and my year, because Destiny 2 is out. And I love it. I know, terrible. but let's break it up.
She was like, you need to go to sleep.
Yeah, right. I said, nah. I'm a god.
You got back out of bed and went to play more.
Let's have a hot take segment. I think it's time for a hot take segment. Who's got a hot take?
Is hot take a gun? Because I need that gun if it is.
All right, I got a hot take. Let's get this started. I know the internet is real up in arms because shaders are not infinite anymore. You have to get them as drops or buy them with your dust, and they're only one-time use. And if you want to change to something else, the original one is gone. And I think that is awesome. I love it. And so Luke Smith had a couple tweets, and there was one thing in there that really clicked for me. He said, customization inspires gameplay. And that's exactly it. I built my first armor set and I said, you know what? I need some different boots to make this happen. And I went out and I got them. And then I thought, okay, this armor is going to fit together in a certain way. How does it look? Okay, this will be my general purpose Birds Monarchy set. So I'm going to put this shader on it. And I committed. I had a limited amount, and I said, this armor is now imbued with this particular shader. This is the choice I've made. So I'm not just going to swap it out. I've built something more than just 4 pieces of armor here. Same thing with the mods. And now I have a set that I don't have to worry about it being 100% roll or whatever. It's a set that'll last me for the rest of the game, even if I never use it. And to do this with every gun, like just the value you have in a gun when you put a rare shader on it, and that is now a special gun. It is now different from every other instance of that gun in your vault. I think it's awesome. I don't miss infinite use shaders at all. I feel so much more connected to individual pieces of gear, and I think it helped. Hot take.
That is a hot take. That's a hot one. That's a spicy take.
It's a real spicy one. Okay, someone else. Take me.
All right.
Swain.
Take me to a hot place.
I will take you to a very hot place and say that Sunbreaker is meh.
Oh, it pains me to hear you say that.
Man, I tried. I really did. It was one of those things that I stayed as dark, like in the dark as possible with it. I didn't want to see the subclass trees. I knew they leaked before. I waited, and I got the Sunbreaker, and then I took a look at the tree, and I was like, is this it? Is this all I got? Okay. So I played with it a bunch, a lot of PvE, a lot of PvP, and I just can't find what I like about it. It still functions similar to how it did in D1. It in the like when you have all these other choices like Sentinel and Striker and them having such good options, there really is no reason for me to be playing Sunbreaker other than the fact that it's a solar subclass. And I would love to be able to play this solar subclass. But that's no reason to play something. If I'm going to use it, I got to love it. I got to like playing it. So, I don't know.
I got a follow-up hot take. I unlocked Night Stalker, and I said, "Oh my god, yes, I'm back," because that was my main in D1. And then I played it for a good long while, and you know what I said? Meh. I don't like it. I don't like it. Like the paths, I get them and overall, but like these two particular paths, they're like the two play styles with Night Stalker that I didn't use in D1. So there's like the Trapper one where you've got Keen Scout, and you've got the thing where your smoke bombs are like traps that wait for enemies to show up, and then you've got some invisibility when you dodge. Like, okay, cool, but I don't play that way. I like to play aggressive with the Wombo combo, but then the other one, it's not really working for me. Like the smoke bomb is just like, that makes you invisible. Okay, I'm not going to use it like that. You know, it has its use case in PvE. I've seen some people use it well in PvP, but it just doesn't feel good to me in the same way that a certain other subclass does, which we will come to later. And yeah, prove me wrong, but I don't like it. Hot take.
Okay, I guess I should do one hot take, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give me a hot take.
This is post-story main campaign into endgame. So, wee woo. Spoilers. Skip 30 seconds ahead. But why is the farm there if there's a new tower?
Yeah.
That's it.
Really though, like yeah. So the one-time use social space.
Yeah, it's like goofy.
Maybe they'll put something important that you can like. It'll become the new reef. Like, or I don't know. Maybe there's some people, like some farmers who really like farming, and it's like this is the spot for me.
Where will Trials of the Nine show up? Who knows?
A farm, naturally.
Yeah. Take us to the farm where no one is.
Otherwise, I don't have any other hot takes. Welcome back to the show. If you skipped that,
what? That's a hot take in itself.
Me not having a hot take.
Not having a hot take means you like this game and can't find anything wrong with it. And
yeah.
I've not known you to be capable of not finding things wrong with other things. I got some more. I don't know. There's just like the part of it where it's like Destiny is a game for everybody, and there were some like things in like the story mission and the voice acting that was just like, like the whole thing where it's like they're talking about like Hawthorne, like she has a really dirty mouth, and like she like, and but like at no point did she ever like. Also, at one point, Devrim was like, I bailed her out on an assault charge or something like that, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, hold on.
You guys live in the woods. What, you guys have like a court system? Was she imprisoned? Is there a prison in the dead zone I don't know about? But like, okay.
Did you pay them in EDZ tokens?
Yeah.
To bail her out?
Is she on parole right now? Like, there was a lot of. She can only
go so far from the farm.
She's got an ankle bracelet on. Little things like that, but like then they make up for it with Failsafe and Nessus in general. Like I feel like Failsafe is just like my best friend, robot, older sister, mom, and I just want to like do nice stuff for her. She's like, go do this. And it's like
to kill them.
Yep. There's too much good stuff in this game to dwell on assault charges.
We ready for this last hot take?
Yeah.
I think Warlocks have overtaken Hunters as the fashion kings of Destiny. They look like Nazgul.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. There's so many good helms. There's like, and maybe I just haven't gotten a drop on Hunter yet, but I got this one, like I saw so many cool ones. I got
Hunters just
Tracer
get like different
Hunter.
Arms.
Yeah.
Like here's a pair of arms that have this bangle, and here's one that has this dilly skull thing on it. Yeah, here you go. Have some more arms.
This like chest armor called Dragon Shadow that's like, it's cool. It's like Alpha Loopy-esque. And then Foe Tracer, which is just like the the graviton forfeit of D2 where I'm trying to make it look good with a shader and it's just like, nope, your face is purple now. And it's like, yeah, I'm trying, man. I got a nice cloak at least.
It doesn't also help that in the character like screen, the warlocks are just floating. Like just floating off the ground and they look so cool. Yeah.
It's so cool. That's my favorite part.
Hot take.
All right. Hot takes. No more hot takes. At least not this week. We've got so much to talk about on the PvE side. We are going to be doing a series of bonus PvE episodes or PvE episodes, if you will, in addition to the regular show. So they'll be right there in your feed. Subscribe on YouTube or on iTunes. However you do it, we'll have them there. But I think we have to at least, let's do this. Same thing. Let's each pick one thing in PvE because there's so much to do. One thing from each of us that you need to go do right now because it's so good and it's not part of the main story, so maybe you missed it.
Read Grimoire. Is right there in the game. Read it. Go read all the Grimoire you can get your hands on. Read the exotic Sparrow Grimoires, the exotic weapon Grimoires, your subclass Grimoire. Anything that you can read, go read it. It's so interesting and it adds so much to the story, and it's right at your fingertips while you're playing. You're loading into a Crucible match, hold down the Grimoire, read some stuff. Do it.
Go collect all the gold chests on Nessus, and I recommend just stealing a pike early on and driving it around and not using the fast travel. I was doing it as a chore because I wanted to level up quick. But it took my breath away, like getting to see a lot of just like even the little transition zones. And then with a golden chest, you get a sense of how much verticality there is. Like you might be going all the way deep underground to find one or doing jumping puzzles. Like there's so many jumping puzzles on Nessus and it's just beautiful. Like the vistas, turn your HUD off and go look around. Yeah, that was surprising how much fun it was to run around looking for gold chests.
I say do the strikes. They're actually great. They are all a vast improvement on any strike from D1, and the Savathun's song is perhaps the darkest Destiny has ever been in terms of theme, and I thought it was amazing. And I just thought it was so cool that I'm like, I'm playing a strike and very, very interested in the dialogue. And my fire team is like, we're not talking over comms because we're actually kind of creeped out and listening. And I thought that was so cool that they went to such great effort to make those really fun experiences. So play the strikes.
All right. If you want to hear more PvE thoughts, make sure to tune into the extra episodes. They're coming. We will be doing those, and they will just appear in your iTunes feed. If you don't want to hear them, skip over them. But if you want to hear us chat about all this stuff, we got some cool things planned.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll be playing the raid, talking about the raid.
Oh, yeah, the raid.
Bonus content.
Anyway.
Let's get into some advice. People tune in, they like our advice. And I think the biggest thing, the thing we're talking about now in our own chat is how do you level up quick? Because we all want to be max light for the raid and especially for trials coming up. So how do you do it?
Play the game.
Good. Good. Solid.
Honestly, though, for like most of your like the core bit of leveling, play the game. You will simply, as you swap your stuff around, you will simply just continue to level up and level up, and just keep equipping stuff.
A good piece of advice I heard early on that has served me well. There are milestones that list powerful gear as a reward. Save those. Save those until you hit the blue and purple power cap, which is blue's 260 and purple's, I want to say 265, sometimes 270. But if you do that, then you'll have those, and that will help push you up over the last little bit from 260 up to, approaching 280, because they're exotics and or just high power gear. That is a helpful one.
I have a really good pro tip that is so on brand for me. But I think it's something that was very helpful, and not a lot of people are doing it right now at the beginning. but don't hoard the new gear you get, because it's really easy to get a lot of legendaries once you start ranking up. I mean, you can get a gun from Banshee almost every time you hit the tower if you're doing it right. And I think there's this need to go, well, I don't want to delete anything in case it becomes the meta, which I did in the past. So I understand that sort of concern. But don't get obsessed with every new gun and thinking you need to play it for 5 hours before you really delete it or anything like that. I'm trying to keep my vault empty, and I'm trying to get a game in with a gun or something like that. And I'm trying to remember them, get a sense of what everything is, but I'm not hanging on to them, because what's more valuable is getting legendary shards at the beginning so you can start infusing the stuff you do like. Because you'll find a gun, you'll go, yes, Better Devils is the shit. And you want to infuse that one up. So use the shards on that. And then realize that, like, yeah, you're probably going to get those guns from Banshee very soon. Like, it's not like you're going to go
from Bungie.
Yeah, you're not going to go months without another IS Luna dropping. You'll get them. So just use all those marks and just put them into the stuff you already like.
Can I just say in general, I'm glad that they finally had an in-game explanation for what engrams are. It's a state of matter where information can collapse into different types of action. It's a game thing, but they actually explained that. I thought that was nice. Go collect your gold chests. They're marked on your mini map. They go away once you get them. So much easier to do than in D1. You can only unlock them once per account. So go ahead, use them on your first character if you want, but know that you'll need something else to do there. And while you're going around looking for them, make sure to grab one of Cade's boosters that reveals chests on the map. Mm-hmm. Because you will pick up so many additional chests. I probably got another 10 tokens from each planet where I went to get gold chests. And that is going to be so many legendary engrams from whoever the quest giver is on that planet. It is peaceful. It is time consuming. There's fun puzzles to figure out where they hid all of these things. Some of them are surprisingly challenging to find.
Yeah.
But they're such a they're a great way to get acquainted with the maps and to learn the lay of the land, and you get a ton of power out of it too, and a bunch of cool weapons and armor. So do that.
Yep. And there is lots to do for leveling up in Destiny right now. And I kind of just want to see what the raid and trials brings us, because once those come out and we can kind of see how easy it is to continue to level up or to even participate in those activities, we'll get a feel for what you actually need to do. Because I'm all for taking it nice and easy. I don't want to rush too fast through the content. I don't want to level up too quick. I want to experience it a little bit slower. So,
well, it's nice to enjoy that period where blues are still relevant. Where you're you get a new blue hand cannon. You're like, yes, I can't wait to use this. I wonder what it's like. Before we just view them as possible gunsmith guns post dismantle.
Okay, guys, I want to talk about gear. I want to talk about guns. But before that, we do have a little message from our sponsor this week, HelloFresh.
Ooh.
HelloFresh.
Hello, Fresh.
HelloFresh is on a mission to save home cooking. They make it more fun so you can focus on the whole experience and not just the final plate. And they like to think of themselves as a farm-to-box company. Everyone has access to fresh ingredients that inspire great meals. But it doesn't stop there. Man, this service is so awesome and simple. They offer classic boxes, veggie boxes, family boxes. If there's more of you, you can get whatever you want. And you get different meals per week that you cook together or by yourself. But basically, it turns you into a chef. So you don't have to be very good at it like Swain here. You just do it and you magically make great food.
They give you step-by-step instructions. Very easy to follow. The pictures are very helpful. I find a lot of recipes don't really give you the pictures that you need. But it's so clear you're going to learn how to cook some of your new favorite meals. I had some HelloFresh meals and I made a poblano pepper black bean chili and it was so good. And you know what's cool? I know how to make chili now. And look, they make it easy for you. They give you the freshest ingredients measured to the exact quantities needed. So there's no waste and you're going to end up with a delicious meal.
So HelloFresh employs 2 full-time registered dietitians on staff who review each recipe to ensure it is nutritionally balanced. And they also deliver food to your doorstep in a recyclable, insulated box for free. And guess what? HelloFresh is now offering light fall meals and has just introduced breakfast options. Guess what? Another guess. I'll give you one more guess. This is less than $10 a meal.
$10 a meal. Try and beat that. Going to the grocery store, you're just going to buy too much. You're going to end up with 3/4 of a bag of spinach. And you're like, what do I do with this? Not with HelloFresh. It's so easy. Check it out. All you got to do is head to HelloFresh.com and enter offer code Crucible30 for $30 off your first week of HelloFresh.
$30.
I'm going to make those Mushu pork tacos that I had from HelloFresh. They were delicious.
Bonesy, I'm going to come over to your house and eat all of your extra Mushu pork tacos because that sounds really good.
I will not unlock the door. Thank you.
Okay. If you're hungry right now, like I am, you should go to HelloFresh.com and enter offer code Crucible30. It's so easy to do. And when this refrigerated box shows up on your doorstep, you're going to go, thank you, HelloFresh. Let's get back to it, boys. I want to talk about PvP. And let's before. Well, can I convince you? What's it going to take? How do I win you over on this one?
No, let's do it, man. I'm excited.
We already called out in our hottest of takes that for us Sunbreaker and Night Stalker is not quite working. What subclasses are working?
Man,
what do you like?
Sentinel is fun. It's so fun. So I use the Path of the Aggressor mostly. And it's got the shield throws, which I finally got down. It's not as hard as it once was.
What's the trick?
The trick is to just like find ways to bounce it off things. And the best part about it is if there's like more than one person in an area and you hit the first person dead on, it's gonna find the other person. Like it's really good at tracking in its own directions. So like those fun double down, triple downs are pretty easy to get. And because it's a flying shield, it's even funnier to watch it happen. But yeah, I mean, there's parts of it that I think are little, it's essentially parts of the defender class. But Striker though is probably the strongest of the three. Striker's just got everything. It's got all the tricks. It's got the old sun charge. It's got slams. It's got 2 grenades. It's got everything, man. I don't know. I really wish Sunbreaker was better, but I can find myself either up on Sentinel for how niche it'll be to learn it.
What'd you say?
Niche.
It's
niche.
NICH.
Anyway,
Niche.
Nietzsche.
I'll end up there probably, simply because I like to be off-brand.
I actually thought of a hot take.
Hit me.
The world is all up in Devour Voidwalkers. That's the one where you consume a grenade and you get your health back, and the Devour perk means kills grant you health, and it's a good chunk of health. It's nasty, and I believe it. I believe it's good. But I don't know. Voidwalker to me, out of the first couple days, I haven't been freaking out about it, which I think is weird for me. But what are you gonna do?
You love Voidwalker.
I do, but I don't know. Maybe it'll take me more time, and I'll just sort of get back into it eventually. I'm not sure. But the thing that does stand out to me is Stormcaller, and that's weird. I didn't think it would. But it does.
At least one of the Taken King subclasses is working out.
Yeah. The other thing is, it's really tough for me to decide between the two attunements, the trees, because honestly, they're both interesting, and neither of them are like the obvious PvP stomper build. And I think maybe you might look at it and have your own decision on that. But for me, I like both. On one hand, you've got Transcendence and Ionic Blink in the same tree. Like those are the 2 monster perks from Stormcaller in D1, and now they're together, and that's just a wonderful thing. So that super is just fantastic, and it lasts forever. But then down at the bottom, all right, this is my favorite thing in Destiny 2 right now. It's this little perk. It's called Arc Soul. What happens is you put down your rift, and a little Arc Soul appears, and this Arc Soul is a glowing little ball of arc energy that hangs out above you in the front of your screen. And somehow, some way, this blob of light looks absolutely adorable, and then it helps you kill things.
The first time one of those showed up and was like, follow me around, it was like one time I put a hair clip on my cat's tail and he just tore off across the house freaking out because this thing was chasing him. And it was a terrible mistake. Took me forever to convince him to let me take it off. That's what happened. It was like, oh my God, there's something in my peripheral. It's circling around. It's closing in. No, he's just a little friend. Just a little friend for you.
It's fun. It seems not fit for this game. And I don't mean not fit like it shouldn't be there. I mean, it's not just this natural, oh yeah, that's a Destiny thing. I believe it. It's so interesting. It's very unique. And I'm just very happy with it. I love having this playstyle that is just completely different and new. It's blowing my mind every time it happens. And I got some good plays out of it. And I just feel like finding those things are what makes this game so insanely fun right now. It's crazy.
Discoveries.
I'm having a lot of fun on Hunter. No surprise, I love Arcstrider, and it's just it is my D2 main, no question. Arc bolts are back. I mean, they're not back, but they're useful again. I had Lucky Raspberry drop. That was kind of fun. I'm not wearing it currently, but definitely a nice exotic to pair with it. I like to have the exotics don't seem super powerful. Like they're helpful, but I now kind of have a choice between like, do I want to run the exotic or would I rather just run this regular armor piece with my favorite mod in it? That's kind of nice. Also, I haven't had any really pretty ones drop yet. I'm of course using Way of the Warrior. The Way of the Wind is cool, but I'm kind of just not in the rhythm of it yet. I have played a little bit of Golden Gun too. Here's a pro tip. That one on Way of the Outlaw where it makes your golden gun fire 6 times but has a shorter duration, just don't unlock it. You don't need it. Yeah. I'm for the rest of D2, I'm not unlocking this perk. That being said, I've been sticking with the other path, Way of the Sharpshooter, because you've got Knife Juggler on it. You've got your what's called Practice Makes Perfect now, but your trance and the sort of PvE orb aspect of it also is quite nice. It feels very gunslingery to me. But yeah, man, just Arcstrider, it's so cool. I keep switching away from it to like force myself to love the others and keep rushing back to it.
Let me ask you guys, if you haven't already, what's the next class that you're going to start?
Good question.
That is a good question. I did get my alts up to to get their light back. So I have unlocked the new subclasses, but they're far from being fully leveled. And I'm not super keen on grinding up 3 characters to full light just yet. So I'm sort of just doing that on the side. But I think Arcstrider, man, I loved it so much. I love the look of the subclass. It's awesome. And I'm thinking maybe I'll go pretty hard on Titan on PC and maybe, let that slide for now. And then, so I'm really, really hankering for it when PC's finally here. But Arcstrider just looks the coolest, man. I want to be Darth Maul.
Yeah, that's hard to beat. I think I'm coming the other way. Like I want to play a lot of Titan. I'm looking forward to playing Titan in D2, but I feel like I'm pretty familiar with those 2 play styles. I wanna unlock everything on a Warlock. I probably after Hunter, I played the most Warlock in D1. And yeah, I wanna play with the little Arc buddy. I wanna play with Stormcaller, which is still a fantastic super. Yeah, that one's speaking to me. Also, I'm gonna recreate my Warlock, and I'm gonna do real spooky looking exo. I got it all planned out. I love that aspect of like building specific character designs with your armor and with your look and all that. Like there's just identity. I don't know. Swain, what about you?
You're gonna Dawnblade.
Go do the. Yeah, I was gonna say, right.
I love Dawnblade.
Can't
it's
have
so
Dawnbreaker, then go to the next one.
I will. It's just a Titan at that point. It's got the Twilight Garrison. It's got the flying fiery sword. So close. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna play Titan for a little bit longer, and then I will start up my Warlock and play a lot of Dawnblade for sure. I want to look like a Nazgul.
Don't we all?
All black.
Okay, well, we did mention a few things we like, but let's get real specific real quick before we jump into this wonderful interview with True Vanguard, where we'll talk about even more Destiny 2. I want to know our 3 favorite loadouts right now. Gear and armor, if you feel like describing it. What are you using?
I would say that I am currently on Sentinel, and I'm running a hand cannon, the bad news hand cannon in my primary, my kinetic, and then in my energy one, I'm using the viced weapon. It is called the Death Adder. I put a nice little pink shader on it. It's beautiful. And
need a pink shader on a gun called Death Adder.
I just love the reload animation of every single vice weapon. It's amazing. Like that kind of it's hard to describe. Anyway, and then the last thing in my power weapon slot, I'm using Merciless, which is the exotic fusion rifle.
Oh, it's so cool. I need it.
It's beautiful. It sounds great. It's a beast in PvE when you're going at a boss. Simply because it as you get body shots on something, it accelerates the charge. So your next charge is quicker to the point where when you hit the bottom of your magazine, you are firing instantaneously after the previous one. So that one right now,
dope.
Until I get a better fusion rifle for my power weapon slot. And armor is not that important right now. I'm using the one I have, which is the helmet, Mask of the Quiet one.
I disagree. Armor is extremely important right now and at all times because you got to look dope and you got to have, you got to have these mods. These mods are game changers. So I'll just real quickly say I've got an all shiny blood red Suros modular sign armor set with the Be Thy Guide cloak, which has got a big old bird on the back because I'm birds. And I'm just thrilled at how beautiful I made this. For weapons, I'm using Nightshade. I'm digging Nightshade quite a bit, and it looks great with Suros modular shine on it. Anything with shine, shimmer, or gloss in the name. Oh my god,
Viced
that looks so good.
Shimmer.
Oh, that's so good.
That's the shader meta right now.
What about Frumious Blue?
Where do you even start? Frumious Blue, Omelon modular shine,
Nebula Rose. It's the best one.
Nebula Rose. As sort of a cut rate Nebula Rose, I like Dawn and Dusk for when you just need to turn something shiny and pink.
That's straight up cotton candy.
Yeah. So yeah, Nightshade. I did not like it at all. I did not like any of them in the beta. I am loving the Phosphorus SMG in my slot. The bottom perk, Phase Magazine, which basically is your focus fire. It decreases the firing rate and increases damage. Don't just gravitate towards the short zoom scope. I know that's usually our default for stuff. The medium zoom, something about it makes it much more stable. And the hip fire on it is so good that you kind of can just decide whether to use it when you want to kind of push the range on it. And I've got Nebula Rose on that because it just looks like a Sombra gun. And then in my power weapon slot, I can't get enough of it. I'm using the sword Quickfang. This is one of the fast ones. So it's got like sort of a Plancy style where right as you swap to it, it does additional damage, but you can just swing very fast with it. And the fact that you like run around as a hunter with your sword, like all Yu-Gi-Oh behind you, or Rurouni Kenshin, I don't know. I don't
Yu-Gi-Oh, just a trail of cards behind you.
I don't know Naruto. I don't know these things. But just running around in third person, ganking people with your sword.
Nonsense, birds.
I agree. But get this sword. It's worth it, man. Like they're just so relevant. I love the sword archetype, and I love playing quick play against some unsuspecting people. And just like, you're ADSing. Shouldn't do that. I'ma chop you, and then I chop them. I chop them real good. And I don't have any exotics that I like yet. I'm gonna build a Lucky Pants build as soon as I've got a hand cannon I like and the rest of the armor around it. Because they're Lucky Pants. They're Lucky Pants. Come on. Bunch of other standouts, but this is the one I keep coming back to. Bonesy.
Okay, this is my loadout. If I'm not running Arc Buddies, shout out Claude Jerome, then I'm on Dawnblade, and I'm using solar grenades, something I never cared to use in D1. I'm using them all the time, and I've got Sunbracers on, which are the OG Sunbreakers that Xur sold all day and all night at the beginning of the game. I laughed so hard when I saw them in the campaign, and I was just like, I need those. And they are so cool. They've always been a great looking exotic, and their perk is awesome. The duration is great. You can just shut down hallways, so I'm loving it. In my power slot, I'm using everything. I switch every game just like I used to. I just want to get a feel for all of it. I really want to work on my sniping. I like a single clap. It's the Suros sniper or Shepherd's Watch from Devrim, both good snipers. And in my secondary, well, you're going to hear True Vanguard mention a gun called Uriel. This one is called The Number, and it's from Future War Cult, and I pulled it out of a Cade chest, and it is a high-impact Omelan auto rifle, and it looks awesome, and it's so good. The thing is intense. And then in my primary, Better Devils, which I, of course, equipped with Suros Modular Shine.
Yep.
It's gorgeous. It's a great gun with those explosive rounds. Actually, they're called, what are they called now? Explosive Payload, sorry. Wonderful perk. But you know what? My alternate primary is the Mida fucking Multi-Tool, baby.
Yeah, we're back, baby. Do you run Mida Mini-Tool at the same time?
What?
Mida Mini-Tool.
Oh, yeah, I got the mini, but the Mida fucking Multi-Tool, baby.
I guess not. Okay.
Dude, it feels like it fits right in Destiny 2 so well, and I just, it feels so good. It's got a great, nice updated look where Banshee sort of did his thing and rebuilt it, and I haven't got the ornament yet, but the ornament is gorgeous. I just love it. It's so good to have it back.
How awesome is it to have the Mida and then also be able to run another like short range primary with it? So,
yeah.
That was always
so
the limiting factor of Mida was like, oh, well, you can only equip Mida on the really long maps. Not anymore.
Putting a hand cannon on in the secondary or keeping my auto rifle. I love it. I love the way it pairs up with a scout rifle. I like scout rifles a lot. I haven't found my gem of a legendary to replace Not Like the Others, but scouts combined with other guns, so fun. It's so cool. I love it.
Yeah,
it's a good game. Pretty good game.
I gotta say, yeah,
pretty good game.
Pretty good game.
Hey, should we get to this interview?
Yeah. Let's do
interview.
And musical break.
Before that, do you want to do the musical break?
Musical break.
Yeah, pretty sure we can do a musical break. Let's do it. Musical break. Welcome back to the show, everyone. To celebrate this very special D2 episode, we of course had to get a very special guest with us here today, returning after a long, long absence. You know him as a guy who loves to voop. His name is True Vanguard. Welcome to the show, bud.
Hey, so happy to be here. Thanks for having me on again.
Welcome back.
Hey,
feels good to take a half an hour break from Destiny 2, I imagine.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, my lifestyle, I can't just no life grind. I can't anymore. Well, I wish I could, but yeah. Had a couple of kids and a wife and a dog and a house and all the business that comes along with that. So
all that stuff, that extra stuff.
I feel like you can probably save up some kid survival time and just be like, all right, this is the 1 week. I'm gonna pour a bunch of food out in the middle of the floor. Just, if it's an emergency, ask your mother.
Simple
I'm
as
taking
that.
a break.
You tell me how
I'll
that
be in
goes.
the living room if you need me.
Tell me how that.
Yeah, we'll test it first.
Well, this is purely hypothetical, as we are a group of 3 man-children in our late 20s or 30s, but that doesn't matter. What a week to have you on. Oh my God, D2. How's it treating you?
Oh my gosh, I'm in love. Absolutely love it. It's got me hooked.
Right back in. Right back in.
Oh yeah, in all the right ways.
So I mean, D1 kind of, man, it was a very hard week leading up to D2, trying to figure out what to play and what to eat. Like, even as a content creator, like, what are we going to talk about? Like, what do you even kind of do? You just putz around the Crucible. But I wanted to know, going into the very beginning of D2, like, what were you thinking? What were you thinking about, like, for, like, as someone who does, content creation? Were you trying to, like, figure out the Crucible first, or are you just trying to experience the story?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think one of my biggest blessings is that my channel is not built on news updates or, like,
being that breaking news.
The first guy to get this weapon or the first guy to complete this quest and to get all these tutorials out, because I feel like those guys are just so overwhelmed during this week. Probably so there are guys out there who have 20 uploads this week alone on YouTube, and I'm just so glad that my content isn't based on that, because I don't think that I could handle it. I just want to go in. I was very thankful that Activision sent me a review copy of the game I was able to play on launch day at 8 a.m. With the New Zealand people without having to buy a New Zealand account or doing any of that business. I got to just sign on to their servers and play. And I did not touch anything other than the tutorial stuff in terms of story. And I just went straight into the Crucible and I played.
Oh, really?
I have played on day one like 8 to 9 hours of just Crucible. It was
oh man,
Guardian, we need you in the European dead zone.
I gotta kill some of my friends first.
That's awesome that you like immediately dove into that, because it's a good story, and it's like it's got to be tempting. Even like for me, I was just like, you know what, I gotta get this out of the way so I can play Crucible for like later.
But I have since gone back. I did finish the story, so I have gotten caught up. Yeah.
Okay,
good.
Okay.
Good.
We don't have to like spoiler alert anything in the rest of this interview. Good to know. Okay, so you headed into the Crucible, like did Homecoming, and then right into the Crucible. You've got your all white gear. What was that like? Sort of getting your bearings, grinding up, both your power level and just like finding new weapons, and also just being in the Crucible with, a white pulse rifle at the very beginning. Like what was that first day like? What was your experience in the Crucible?
I found that I really liked that first AR you get, the Pariah, for a good while. Like on that day, I had a couple of, not that it's a huge accomplishment in D2, but I had a couple of, like, we ran out of medals with just that white initial AR they give you, just because it's so solid. It's basically a scathe block without perks on it. So it's really solid. But that first day, to me, it was honestly just a blast, because it was that feeling of loving greens and blues again, you know what I mean? And that only lasted a couple of days, to be honest, but it was still a lot of fun, and seeing familiar names like the Cydonia. I don't know if you guys remember, but in the D1 beta, the Cydonia AR was king.
That was a gun.
So to see that again, to get that drop, I was like, It was so much fun. I ran into Triple Wreck, Luminosity, Real Crafty, and I matched each other, I think, 6 or 7 different times on the first day.
Oh boy.
But just to run into your friends and experience that together. I ran into Ali A. Just some of these guys. It was just fun. It was honestly some of the most fun that I have had on stream in a long, long time.
So,
that's so cool.
Speaking of, what do you think about all these players that have kind of waded into the waters? I know there's a few big names that are obviously going to play more once PC comes out, but what do you think about that?
I think it's definitely. It's all of that exposure is really good for the community.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, that's what really matters. I know as a content creator, you do have to understand that you are sort of in competition at times with these guys, especially on Twitch, in a Twitch directory.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I still have my community, and I tell this to all these other streamers who have expressed sort of concern about that. I just say, you know what, you still have your community. Invest in your community, and those are the guys that they're going to say to their friends, I watch TV, and we have a lot of fun there. The community is really welcoming, and so that's just one more person that might come in. That's the sort of organic growth that you want in a core community. It's not necessarily all the people that just come by for, it's just the current big thing, right? They're not the ones that are really going to stick and invest, not normally. So you really want to pursue that organic growth. So at the end of the day, it's really not a big threat. I think it's great for the community in general just to have that kind of exposure.
I mean, speaking of PC though, the beta for PC was literally right before D2 came out. How did you enjoy that?
I thought it was, in my opinion, it was the best beta for any game I've ever played.
Yeah.
I thought it was extremely successful. Vicarious Visions, I got a good friend of mine that has worked on the development of this game on PC. And I know when they first announced it, I thought it was going to be sort of a novelty thing, maybe a port, that it would just be sort of there, but not really a big deal. Yeah. But I couldn't have been more wrong. They took it by the horns and they owned it, and they built the game again from the bottom up for PC, highly optimized. I was blown away. I loved my experience on PC.
I was hanging out in your chat for a little bit for it. So you were just using your controller for like casual Crucible, or were you trying to get into the mouse and keyboard a little bit more too?
I logged about 12 hours of mouse and keyboard PvP during the beta. And I don't know. I played a lot of controller as well. I played more controller than mouse and keyboard, but I did play a significant amount of mouse and keyboard. It felt, I'm not a huge PC guy. I've not played a lot of PC shooters. That's why I spent a lot of time playing PUBG before, because I just wanted to get more comfortable with it. And I think that prepared me a little bit, but PUBG is just a completely different pace, and the movement isn't the same, nor is it as crucial. So it was still a little bit of a shock, but I was still able to have some really positive games and really enjoy my experience on mouse and keyboard as well. What about you guys? Do you guys play mouse and keyboard?
Trying.
Oh man,
learning.
Yeah.
We're adjusting.
Yeah, no, we're at least for me, I come from a very singular just console. Like I never really played any PC games, so going into it was just a whole new thing. I got these weird big fingers that like I can't really WASD all that well, so it's something that I'm gonna have to get used to. And luckily, we have plenty of time coming up.
Yeah, I'll use mouse and keyboard for the lost sectors. That's where I'm gonna practice.
There you go.
So okay, so you're in it. You're playing your PvP all day, playing through all the game modes, both in the quick play and the competitive playlist. What? How do you feel about the game mode so far? What do you think about sort of consolidating everything into just those two playlists? I guess for starters.
I mean, personally, that's never really been a big off put for me. I don't really care too much because I come from the history of playing lots of Halo. I mean, I remember DQ. My wife and I, when we started dating, we played a lot of Halo 3. And I don't know if you remember Action Sack, but that playlist, it was just a bunch of these goofy game modes. You never knew what you're going to get, So, I'm used to that sort of just a bag of different game modes in one playlist. That's not necessarily foreign to me, and it doesn't really bother me. I mean, sure, there are times where it's like you're like, countdown on this map. I think I would have preferred survival, but I think that they do have some fine tuning to do with some of those playlists as well. I think that countdown matches can last incredibly long. Sometimes, I mean, not all the time, but they're just those one matches that you have where it ends up being like a whatever 6-5 it sure has. But then on the flip side of that, then you have these matches, especially in competitive, where people quit out and they're not replaced, and there's no penalty for leaving a match.
Yeah.
So
I saw that on your Twitter. You were like, you suggested that like there's got to be something. Like there's got to be something we can do that gets rid of it. Right?
Yeah,
like,
there's two ways to go with that. You either highly incentivize people to stay, or you punish them for leaving. One of the two. So
punish them.
You want the carrot or the stick? I don't know.
Just see a Caesar on the balcony, like give the thumbs down. All right, get rid of him, kill him.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Swain hates levers.
No. I have measures here. So between quick play and competitive, do you have a preference yet? Like them both? I mean, where do you choose to spend most of your time?
I enjoy myself more in quick play right now. I think that might change with, maybe some of the changes that might come to the competitive playlist. I think competitive has a lot of potential, but there's no really quantifiable way to, show your skill. There's no, like I said, punishment for leaving matches. So I'm not exaggerating when I say the majority of my matches have levers. So it just ends up being a really long, especially if it's survival, and it's 4v1 trying to just find that last guy, and he's got X number of lives, so you have to find him so many times, and it's the long respawn counter anyway, so it just lasts forever. And as a streamer, that's absolutely terrible, because that's potentially 15 minutes where your chat is just watching you try and hunt down one guy, and it's super boring. No one wants to stay. They want to leave. I'm gonna go watch Triple. So it's horrible. So I have since started staying away from competitive. I think that I have had better drops there. I've had exotic engrams and a number of nice legendaries, but there's just not enough incentive for me to want to put myself through that. I'm a very much an active mind person, so those environments really are like nails on my brain. You know what I mean? It's like I don't enjoy it. I gotta do something.
I think that last guy who survived that whole time, or barely survived that whole time, deserves an exotic. Like levers may not be punished, but he at least deserves something good. But anyways,
it's called a medal called All 8 Were You.
Thank you.
I wonder if like that won't clear up a little bit as, people get a little bit more comfortable. I just like playing day one. There was a fair amount of like, wow, I'm definitely in a lobby with some people who have never played a first person shooter before. Welcome to the game. And thank you. Thank you so much. This is not going to last forever. So maybe as people sort of realize what competitive is and, leave enough matches and they just don't go back, maybe that'll tighten up, but we'll see.
The one thing that got me kind of lit me up a little bit was like seeing the emblems tracking things, because that like bodes well for possibly having some sort of like ranking built into your emblem in the future.
Oh yeah, there's that weird Crucible emblem that shows off your KD.
in quick play, even not even competitive.
I have the sickest quick play KD. Watch out.
So TV, did you start with a subclass you're familiar with, your favorite, or did you try to mix it up a little bit? Did you just want to go back to the familiar?
I went in with Sentinel, and eventually unlocked the other subclasses for Titan as well. But at the end of the day, I keep coming back to Sentinel. I really enjoy it. I think there's some fine tuning that I might suggest for the subclass, but overall, I think that it just jives well with me. I really like it. What about you guys? What are you playing?
Oh, we play everything. This is about you. Which of the and also I don't think any of us are playing that much Sentinel right now, so we're gonna stay on this for just a sec. Tell me about Sentinel. Tell me what loadout you're using. Are you using both of the paths, or do you prefer one over the other?
I prefer Code of the Aggressor because I just really like chucking shields. But that being said, I think there's some fine tuning that I would do to it. Oh, well, first, let me just talk about sort of loadout and my approach there. There's a couple of really solid exotics that are in the Titan arsenal that jive really well with a Sentinel. The first being the Mask of the Quiet One.
Oh, that's what I just put on.
Spooky.
It's not only does it look really freaking cool, but just that sort of passive, always cooling down your abilities faster, and when you take damage, they're regenerating even quicker. Those are really, really cool abilities to have. Obviously, you get shot a lot in the Crucible, so that's always going to be proccing. But and then there's also I'm going to butcher the name off the top of my head. Synthoceps? I think it's the Synthoceps.
Synthoceps, yeah.
Synthoceps. Like biceps, but Synthoceps. Yeah. So it's the gauntlets, and the
big veiny gauntlets.
Yeah, they basically give you Stormcaller melee range, and it's significant. It really is significant. So that's really nice to have, I've found, because you sometimes with the Code of the Aggressor, you're leading with that shield bash, and then to be able just to
follow up, right?
Yeah, the follow up melee, exactly. So, but speaking of that, that's one of the things that I would fine tune is in PvP, that shield bash. The animation looks cool, it sounds cool, and the description sounds cool, the whole disorienting effect, but it's just really impractical in PvP because it gets pretty well negated by the fact that the other guy can melee twice faster than you can, because you have to do that full animation and then that sort of second that, maybe it's a full second cooldown between the time that you get out of that animation and can punch again. The other guy can just spam melee. So the whole disorienting effect doesn't really work in PvP because they're just going to be hitting melee anyways, which pretty much just auto tracks anything in front of it. So yeah, I trade a lot or just lose melee fights when I try and lead with that. And it sort of seems counter, like against the whole idea of the subclass. It's supposed to be that Code of the Aggressor. Like this is something that you're supposed to lead with, that shoulder bash or that shield bash, because it's supposed to, do the disorienting effect. That's sort of the point, is to start with that. But it's just kind of negated in PvP. So I would maybe if it had like a bigger knockback, so it would actually hit them out of melee range. I would like that a lot more, because they
be Doomfist.
Then they couldn't just spam. I don't want to launch them across the map, but just you hit them with it and maybe get 10 feet of distance so they can't just spam melee and totally negate your assault. I would like to see that. Also, if you haven't played Sentinel, I can tell you that when you're in your super, the hit detection is really, really bad. There are times where you'll do the lunge, it'll make the sound, you'll connect with the opponent, you'll hear the sound, and if you play with the vibration on your controller, you'll feel the vibration, and it will do completely zero damage. I've had it times before, and I did this on stream yesterday, where I had a guy hit 3 times in a row, did the sound, did the lunge, did everything, and the third time it even knocked him back, but he took 0 damage, and you just blew your whole super. And when I run a clean stream, it's really hard to keep my mouth in check when that happens. Like, son of a... anyways, but all things considered, I really do love the Sentinel. It's a blast to play, and when it works, it works.
What are your thoughts on the grenade choices?
In PvP, I don't do anything but suppressors, because it's so fun when people are only getting 1 super a match to take it away from them. That feels really good.
Probably watching their mouths as you do that.
But in PvP, I don't know. I tend to... The magnetics are nice for the bigger guys. I pretty much don't really use the void walls at all. But yeah, the suppressors can be nice in PvE for the bigger mobs, because you have that ability in the Code of the Aggressor that makes it so that if you get kills with the grenade, it cools it down faster. So if you throw it into a mob of dregs or just the thralls or whatever, if you get 3 to 4 kills with that one suppressor, it's basically already cooled down again. So
and you mentioned it very briefly. What use are you finding for the class ability? Sort of what's your strategy there?
So for me, I can't really speak on behalf of the Warlock and the Hunter, because I haven't barely played any of them since launch. But as the Titan, I really like using that shield wall. I use the full shield wall, the big one, not the rally barricade, but the full wall, the big one. And that's really good for deterring pushes, because sometimes guys will really overcommit to a kill, and if you throw that shield up and they know that they have to go through it, they might think, oh, it's just a second that I'm going to be in that thing. I can just power through it and finish this guy off.
It's free damage.
It's a ton of damage. All I have to do is punch once. If they walk through that shield at all and I punch once, they die. I mean, sometimes I trade just because I'm already hurt, and that's why I threw the shield up to begin with. But one thing that you can do is the Crest of Alpha Loopy. I don't know if you know this, but in
Behind
D2
the
it's
shield, right?
Yeah, so basically it makes it so that when you pop your barricade, it gives this health regeneration sort of pulse for you and any nearby teammates. And so that can actually really mess with your opponents in PvP, because they hurt you. They think they have you on the ropes. You throw up your barricade and they're like, I'm just going to jump over and finish them off. They don't realize that when you threw that up, you got this healing boost. And now you're back up to, 3/4 shields or even full health, and you're ready to take them on. And they're exposed in the air. It's great.
It's so weird being in D2 to be like, oh my God, have you tried Crest of Alpha Loopy? It's so good. Oh, it's been so long since the Exotic's seen any, day in the sun.
Oh yeah.
But I've been using the large wall for sure. And in the beta, I was like, no, never going to use it. Why would I even use it? And the more I'm like playing it, the more I'm seeing like, oh, this is just a perfect way for me to seal off like someone chasing me. Like I can put it up, and if I need to run away, it helps me run away. Or if I need to, gather health, it's perfect.
Right.
Well, let me ask you now about armor mods. And I feel like a lot of people still really haven't started to explore the mods all that much. I mean, probably by the time this comes out, more so. But there's a lot of choices sort of in every slot, and some of them seem pretty effective. Some of them seem pretty mild. Have you played around with them much at all? And sort of have you identified, what you're looking for in an armor mod, what you run on each piece?
I haven't really gotten super analytical about it, but I am very familiar with the whole process. And, I don't know if sometimes you tune into other folks' streams this week just to see what they're up to, and you see them at the gunsmith just spamming buying those mods. But because it's a crucial part of the whole leveling process at times too, with those +5s. Mm-hmm. But I mean, some of these things are really nice. You can kind of tailor make your particular character regardless of what armor dropped for you. You can say, well, this doesn't really have the greatest mobility, and I really want to have higher mobility. Well, that's where the armor mods come into play, and you can sort of tailor make it so that it's specific to the way that you want to play the game. And then you can stack the ones that are specifically for solar subclasses, since you're playing Hammer of Soul or whatever it is. So yeah, there's just a lot of customization there that sort of takes away that feeling that you had in D1, where it was, I have to get not only this piece of armor to drop, but I need it to drop with this perk and with, these values on it, or else it's no good to me. And when that doesn't happen, you have to wait until the next reset to go for that same item again. So it takes that away, and you just have so much more control, and I like that a lot.
Not to mention, like, oh, you finally get the armor piece you've been lusting after, and it's like an 83%. And you're like, oh, all right.
Stop, Swain, please.
Guess I'll never have grenades again.
Those days are over.
PTSD.
We're behind.
I mean, you can still go back and play it if you want.
I'm never going to do that ever.
Yeah. Have you messed with any of the armor mods that specifically change sort of your gun abilities? So the ones that control recoil, control reload speed, control handling. Have you played with those much yet?
Yeah, and the difference is significant. It's definitely noticeable. So if you have a weapon that tends to kick a lot and you've got a recoil control, and you think maybe this gun could be really good if it had better stability, well, guess what? You can do that. It's so nice to have that option. So the flip side of that is that could make balancing a nightmare if there are all these various combinations that they have to account for that could miraculously generate the God gun, right? The equivalent of the Fellwinter's Lie in year 1, or the equivalent of the Thorn, So, but at least I think that the way that they've set it up this time, they do have a lot more control. If something does get out of hand, it would be much easier than it was in Destiny 1 to sort of bring those things in line.
I also think that like if you in this system, if you have that like addition to your balance and all that on your armor mod, it ends up being so that you have like you said, like there's like, oh, it creates this like Phil Winter's Lyre, this god weapon. But I think it also creates like 7 other god weapons at the same time. So it's like, it's not like it's creating a meta in one slot like it did in like D1, where you're like, oh yeah, your special was this and your primary was this. Those mods like create like 7 different options in each slot that are god tier at this point.
Yeah, I feel you.
Okay, I want to talk about weapons themselves and each archetype. TV, the last time I saw you, you were up on stage using a fusion rifle in a tournament setting with everyone freaking out every time it came up on screen. But you're a man after our own hearts because you like to use whatever and not apologize. So thinking of that, what has been fun for you? What kind of weapon combos have really just stuck out as interesting and entertaining?
Well, so I tend to, in my energy slot, I have a hard time getting away from an AR called Uriel's Gift.
Oh yeah,
I'm a big fan of that AR. So it's an Amalon, which we didn't get those in D1. No AR Amalon ARs besides Hard Light. So it's nice to have that available. So it's got some character. It's very stable. It has a great effective range. So then in my kinetic slot, I've been rocking things like, I really like the Bad News. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a Haka hand cannon.
That's pretty high impact, right?
It hits really hard. You can 3-tap pretty consistently. So I really like having that. It fires pretty slow. I mean, it's sort of like maybe a little bit faster than like Ill Will did, but it hits really hard. So I like that option. But also recently, I've been kind of swapping that in and out with Vigilance Wing since I got that to drop. That pulse rifle, that exotic pulse rifle that looks sort of like a Trials weapon.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of looks like Anubis when you aim down the sights and it's got the horns. Super cool. Not only does it look cool, but actually performs really well in 1v1 engagements in PvP. So I like to have that in my arsenal as well. And for the power weapon slot, I've been trying to use a lot of different things. I really like the Shepherd's Watch sniper rifle. It just feels good. But then there is a fusion rifle called the Aarontil. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's
Can I just say, I love that we're at this stage where there's so many guns and everyone's talking about them, and I don't know what 90% of them are. This is the magic time. I'm enjoying this. Okay, so I've never heard of this one. Tell me
the
about
Aarontil. It looks like a Thiessen, basically, almost exactly. So, and it performs much like the Thiessen did as well. But it also has a perk on it called Liquid Coils, where you can actually slow down the charge rate even further to completely max out the impact on that fusion.
Ooh, it's like reverse accelerated coils.
Yeah, basically. So it's pretty nasty. So that's been a lot of fun to play with. I do also have a main ingredient, which I like as well. I am a sucker for linear fusion rifles. I think that they're just really rewarding when you use them. So I've been using the Tarantula a lot. It's just fun. It's stupid fun.
Queensbreaker was always one of my favorite weapons in D1. So to see like an entire group of them is amazing.
So a couple weapon classes you didn't mention there. We've got SMGs. I don't think you mentioned scout rifles. Is there anything in those two classes or any of the other various assorted power weapons that you like or you think stands out, or just not your play style or not yet?
In terms of SMGs, the Haka ones I tend to like, and there's actually a blue one. I think off the top of my head, maybe I think it's called the Philippus B, but I haven't found a legendary version of it yet, of this archetype. But it's a little bit slower firing, and it has a great range. Like it's honestly probably like Atheon's Epilogue D1 range. So for an SMG, that's actually pretty solid. and it fires a little bit slower than the other SMGs, but hits a little bit harder. And it just sounds super cool. It just sounds like a machine gun. I really like it. So those Haka SMGs, maybe keep an eye out for. And then you said maybe scout rifles.
Yeah, anything there catch your eye?
The Call to Serve stands out. That's a really solid scout rifle in the kinetics.
I know that one. I like that one.
All right. Yeah, that's a good one. You're like, a name I recognize.
Yeah, right. You gotta hold on to the little things.
So, also the Skyburner's Oath. Skyburner, I don't know if you have that.
That's the exotic, right?
It's the exotic. Fires slugs. Basically, it's a slug rifle. So it's really, really cool.
What about in the power weapon slot? Shotguns, swords, grenade launchers, any of this new stuff that you're messing with?
Yeah, there's the Hawthorne's Field Forged Shoddy. I don't know if you have that yet.
That's a good one.
Yes.
But that thing is a PvE monster.
Yeah.
Just blah, 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 blah. It's so good. And that's the sound it makes, right? That I didn't say that. I just played it.
We had Andrew drop that in. Just edit it in.
So that was really good. I'm going to butcher this. Balligant, maybe? Really high impact shotgun. If you ever come across that one, that one's nice to have as well. But swords, there's a lot of different swords out there. They got kind of creative with the skills and perks on those as well. Some of them have greater range. Some of them you move faster. But yeah, I've been completely destroyed by guys with swords in PvP. I just didn't see it coming.
The crown splitter.
Can I just say that I'm very jealous that Warlocks didn't get like this new animation for their specific sword. We just hold it as you do. And meanwhile, Titans are like running around like Game of Thrones and Hunters are all ninjas. I'm pretty jealous, I have to admit.
You got plenty of other things.
Yeah, I got arc buddies.
And you got our garrison boost. So shut up.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I feel better immediately.
You got a little arc buddy to follow you around if you stand up.
Those are the best. Those are the best. That's the new meta. I'm telling you. It
freaked me out so much the first time I saw that, and I said, "What is this? What is this thing haunting me?"
Get it off.
So, big question. People are starting to settle in a little bit. They're starting to be overlapping drops. Do you have a guess for where the meta is going to end up? Is there anything in particular you see that's maybe flavor of the week or just killing you a bunch? What do you think this are going to be the standouts that people gravitate towards?
Mm-hmm. I think you're going to see a meta that's going to be largely defined by a combination of AR hand cannon, sort of in the higher tiered arenas of play. In my opinion, that's just a preliminary guess. But ARs are really good on console, and obviously there's a lot of guys that are really accurate players, and hand cannons just have if you see somebody for a split second with an AR, you have time to get maybe 2-3 bullets into them. It's not a ton of damage, but with a hand cannon, and you pop that one, if you get one headshot and potentially do, depending on your archetype, up to 71 damage, that's huge. So I think that in the sort of more competitive arenas where that team fire is so important, you can just absolutely melt people with a team of hand cannons that are accurate. So I think that's where you're going to fall as AR hand cannon. And then in the heavy slot, I think it's going to be largely dominated by things like fusion rifles and shotguns. Sort of my preliminary assumption. What about you guys? You think any different?
Definitely fusion rifles. Like, why wouldn't you use the sniper that you don't have to look down sights in? I don't know. I kind of hope for an aggressive style SMG build, like where you're just like getting up on someone, because that's what it's most effective when you're really close. So that's what I would hope for.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see once PC is out and settles down a bit, kind of what differences we see. I would expect to see more SMG play on PC, where it can kind of act as a auto rifle of sorts, but just with sort of better aim, better control. I'm loving the diversity in sidearms too. I hope there's a sidearm build out there that can have some traction at top level play. I'm not expecting it, but I'm hoping for it. I think it'd be cool.
I'll tell you, some of those burst fire sidearms are nasty.
They do feel good. The Omelon is really, in my opinion, Omelon is just killing it in D2 with their options. But those little burst fire.
Is that a Last Hope? Is it the Omelon?
I believe that's the name of one of them. Yeah. Good job, Birds.
Well, I've got that one. I like it. Thank you. I know.
That's
one.
two for you.
You did it.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah, that one actually has maxed out stability as well.
I've noticed.
The Last Hope. Yeah, it's nasty.
It is quite nice.
So, TV, we've got a lot coming up, including Trials of the Nine. Oh my God, it's going to take so long.
You almost said Osiris.
Trials of the Nine. Yeah, I almost said Osiris. Trials of the Nine coming up. And, what do you see you gravitating towards most in the next few months?
You mean in terms of activities I'll play?
Yeah.
But yeah, I will undoubtedly be playing plenty of Trials. I'm very excited about it, mainly because of the fact that I get to play with 3 of my best friends in the game all together in one fire team.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to go into Trials with me, KJ Hovey, the Manigator, and M Tashed. So
that'll be a sight.
That's what. That's
Can you
how
just
we'll
give
kick
me a
off.
heads up so I don't play?
So that's how we're gonna kick off launch every week for Trials. So on Friday when it hits, we'll hit it hard right out of the gate, the 4 of us, and knock out all our characters and play for several hours. And then after that, it'll be enjoyable to try and keep the trend from Destiny 1 and try and help other people, get those same sweet loot drops. And I mean, we don't know what the system is going to look like if flawless is going to be a thing, unless you guys know more than I do. But we'll certainly be trying to help other people have success in the Trials as well. So looking forward to it.
You had mentioned earlier that your content is not really based around trying to be the first one to the YouTube video, the first one with the news or the weapon review. Once you've had some time to sort of settle in, what are you looking forward to making? I mean, obviously streaming, but sort of content wise, what can we expect from you?
Yeah. So one of my favorite things in Destiny 1 early in the game was uploading videos of potential builds that you can do, complete loadouts, way to spec your character, various armor that you can put on that has specific perks that play well with things in your skill tree, right? Stuff like that to sort of generate these builds that people can have a lot of fun with. And I think
synergy.
Yeah, the synergistic approach to building a character. Yeah. So definitely going to be doing some PvP builds. That'll be fun. Some general tutorials and tips and guides on how to experience success in the Crucible and in various game types. Breakdowns on how well specific weapons work. And of course, I have always tried to approach that. I think it's really easy for guys to pull out the gun they just got to drop and take it into the Crucible for 2 matches and be like, it's amazing. But it's the best gun ever. And there were actually, I can still remember, I'm not going to say any names, but I remember times where I'd open up YouTube just to catch up and see so-and-so post a new video of why this is the best gun in Destiny 1. And it wasn't, not even remotely. And everybody knew it and didn't use it. We always try to stay really honest when it comes to those weapon reviews and take suggestions for what people are saying in the comment section. Oh, would you use this gun? Review it. Let us know what you think about it. There are some hidden gems, but yeah, so I think that's certainly going to be the sort of content they're going to see on the channel.
And it's just awesome that we have the time to go find those gems now. And it's a whole new world out there. Well, TV, thank you so much for coming on the show. Listeners, if you like this show, you automatically like TV. He's like a smarter version of us. And it's always good to have to have new guides and stuff like that. And we love synergy. But yeah, if someone is new to Destiny and they're coming into this world for the first time, TV, where should they go to find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, just True Vanguard, easy peasy lemon squeezy. On Twitter as well. I'm very active on Twitter, mainly just bantering back and forth with my wife, who tries to embarrass me in front of all my friends. And it's The True Vanguard. And also on Twitch, very, very active on Twitch at The True Vanguard.
Well, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time away from D2 on the first week to come talk to us. And we really look forward to seeing whatever the new Sky Sniper build is. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. Thanks so much for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. All right, guys. Outro bit.
Yeah.
Do we have anything? Come up with anything? Should have thought of something.
Man, I mean, that was a great interview, and we've been recording for a long time today. Man, I just want to get back into it.
Let's just skip it.
Skip it.
No, I mean, we gotta do the plugs. We got just real quick.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hey, enter our giveaway. Get some free stuff. You just go to crucibleradio.com/giveaway. It's that easy.
Crucibleradio.com/giveaway. Use offer code Crucible to get yourself some Control Freaks. Be better in Destiny 2 with some Destiny-themed Control Freaks.
Follow us on Twitter at Crucible Radio.
Man. All right. Love you.
I think that covers it.
We love you guys.
Time.
Okay, bye.
Love you.
We love D2 and also you.
Yes.
But also D2.
Yes.
And
A lot.
D2.
Yeah. Also, no, D2.
Like an unhealthy amount.
I'm pretty sure I love Destiny 2. I'm pretty sure my wife's gonna divorce me.
We're all doomed. Goodbye, everyone.
I love you.
Bye. See you next week.
Hello everyone, Swain here. You know that Crucible Radio is your source for all things Destiny PvP, and I know you want more than just this video, so make sure to head on over to crucibleradio.com to find all of our past episodes, detailed Crucible maps, t-shirts, and much, much more.